Learn Italian with Beyonce. In Beyonce's latest album, there's a track called Daughter, in which she sings a little Italian. Let's go through the Italian lyrics to see what they mean and to see what we can learn from them. The lyrics are: Caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te languisci il cor, il tuo fedel sospira ognor, cessa crudel, dando rigor. Those lyrics mean, my dear beloved, believe me at least, without you my heart languishes. Your faithful admirer constantly yearns, stop cruel one being so harsh. The lyrics to this part of the song are actually from an aria written in 1783 by a composer called Giordani. Since it was written almost 250 years ago, some of the words are a little archaic, but we'll look at the modern Italian equivalents. The first line says, Caro mio ben, credimi almen. Caro mio ben, credimi almen, which means, my dear beloved, believe me at least. In Italian, the word mio means my, and in actual fact, it's usually il mio. So you can put il mio in front of masculine singular nouns to mean my. Il mio giardino means my garden. Il mio amico, my friend. Il mio cane, my dog. In the feminine, the word il mio becomes la mia, which means my in front of feminine singular nouns. La mia casa, my house. La mia macchina, my car. La mia borsa, my bag. Then, in front of plural nouns, the words for my become I miei and le mie for the masculine plural and feminine plural. I miei giardini, my gardens. I miei amici, my friends. I miei cani, my dogs. Le mie case, my houses. Le mie macchine, my cars. Le mie borse, my bags. When you place the word my in front of a family member in Italian, you don't need to say the il or the la. You just use mio or mia. For example, mio fratello means my brother. Mia sorella, my sister. The name for these my words is possessive adjectives, and they can go in front of the noun. However, in the first line of this Italian verse, Beyoncé sings caro mio, with the mio after the noun. Well, you might have heard similar things to this if you've learnt much Italian. Mamma mia means my mum. Dio mio means my God. Well, this is because you can place the possessive adjectives after the noun if you want to be emphatic or even ironic. My darling is quite an impassioned phrase, so Italians tend to say caro mio instead of mio caro. The word ben after caro mio is actually a shortened form of the word bene, which has various meanings such as fine, well, and good. But in this song, it makes up the set phrase caro mio ben, which changes caro mio from my darling to the more emphatic my dear beloved. Also, it makes it rhyme with the next line. Interestingly, the word caro has two meanings in Italian. It can mean dear in both senses of the word, either dear as in darling, or dear as in expensive. For instance, caro John would mean dear John. Mio caro fratello, my dear brother. But then, è troppo caro, it's too expensive. Vendono cose a molto caro prezzo. They sell things at a very high price, or literally at a very dear price, a molto caro prezzo. So basically, caro mio ben means my dear beloved. credimi almen. The next line is credimi almen, and the first word credimi comes from the verb credere, which means to believe. It's in the imperative, which is basically a command. You can turn any verb into a command in Italian by removing the last 3 letters from the verb and adding an I to the end for ERE or IRE verbs, or you can add an A to the end for ARE verbs. For example, credere means to believe, credi means believe, parlare means to speak, parla means speak, mangiare, to eat, mangia means eat, so you're telling somebody to eat, mangia. Partire means to leave, parti means leave. So you simply remove the ERE or IRE from the end of the verb and add an I, or you remove the ARE and add an A. The word credimi means believe me, and you can put me on the end of any imperative. Mostrare means to show, mostra is show, and then mostrami means show me. Aiutare means to help, aiuta means help, and then aiutami, help me. Scrivere means to write. Scrivi would be write. Scrivimi una lettera. Write me a letter. So credimi means believe me, and then the little word almen is the shortened form of the word almeno, meaning at least. In this instance, it's only shortened to help it fit into the song better. It's usually used in its full form. Abbiamo bisogno di almeno 5 persone. We need at least 5 people. La festa era noioso, ma almeno il cibo era buono. The party was boring, but at least the food was good. Almeno lava I piatti. At least wash the dishes. So credimi almen, or rather credimi almeno, means believe me at least. The next line goes senza di te languisce il cor, which means without you my heart languishes. The word senza means without, and you can put nouns or verbs after it. Vorrei il piatto senza pesce. I would like the dish without fish. Un cane senza padrone. A dog without an owner. Un albero senza foglie. A tree without leaves. However, if you want to use senza with a personal pronoun, you have to use senza di instead of just senza. Senza di me, without me. Senza di te, without you. Senza di lui, without him. Senza di lei, without her. Senza di noi, without us. Senza di loro, without them. But then if you use any other noun, it's just senza, even with names. Senza Maria, without Maria. Or senza Paolo, without Paolo. Languisce il cor. So senza di te means without you. And then Beyoncé goes on to say, senza di te languisce il cor. The verb languisce comes from languire, which means to languish or to die away. The noun il cor is the old-fashioned word for il cuore, which means the heart. Now, I said in the translation that senza di te languisce il cuore means without you, my heart languishes, or without you, my heart dies away. But the il cuore bit means the heart. So why have I said my heart? Well, in Italian, they rarely use possessive adjectives, meaning my, your, his or her, in front of body parts. Instead, they just use the word for the. Mi fa male il braccio. My arm hurts, or literally, the arm hurts. Mi lavo le mani. I'm washing my hands. or literally, I'm washing the hands. Mi sono rotto la gamba. I've broken my leg, or literally, I've broken the leg. So far then, we have Caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te languisci il cor. Which means, my dear beloved, believe me at least, without you, my heart languishes. The next line goes, Il tuo fedel sospira ognor, which means your faithful admirer constantly yearns. The il tuo bit is the your equivalent of il mio. We know that il mio, or la mia, I miei, and le mie, means my, and il tuo means your. Just like with my, there are 4 alternatives depending on whether the noun that follows is masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. Il tuo giardino, your garden. Il tuo amico, your friend. Il tuo cane, your dog. In the feminine, we have la tua casa, your house. La tua macchina, your car. La tua borsa, your bag. In the masculine plural, we have I tuoi giardini, your gardens. I tuoi amici, your friends. I tuoi cani, your dogs. And then in the feminine plural, le tue case, your houses. Le tue macchine, your cars. Le tue borse, your bags. As before, when you place the word your in front of a family member, in Italian you don't need to say the il or the la. You just use tuo or tua. Tuo fratello, your brother, or tua sorella, your sister. The word fedel is a shortened version of the word fedele, which as a noun means believer, supporter, or admirer. As an adjective, you can use fedele to mean faithful or loyal. We have a word in English, infidel, which is basically the opposite, meaning a non-believer. Un cane è un amico fedele. A dog is a loyal friend. La piazza è gremita di fedeli per la visita del Papa. The square is packed with believers for the Pope's visit. Maria ha fatto una traduzione fedele. Maria did a faithful translation. So, il tuo fedel, or il tuo fedele, means your faithful admirer, or your loyal supporter. Then it goes on to say, il tuo fedele sospira ognor. The verb sospira comes from sospirare, which literally means to sigh. But you can use it figuratively to mean to yearn for or to long for. Sospirava questo momento da anni. He had been longing for this moment for years. L'insegnante ha sospirato. The teacher sighed. Paolo è qui, sospirò Marco. Paolo is here, sighed Marco. Finally, the word ognor is a shortened version of the word ognora. It's a very old-fashioned word meaning always or continuously, and it's made up of the words ogni and ora, every hour. It isn't really used anymore though, and instead you can use the word sempre. Lei scrive sempre lettere di ringraziamento dopo il suo compleanno. She always writes thank you letters after her birthday. Ti ho sempre amato. I have always loved you. Lui sta sempre a lamentarsi, ma non fa mai niente. He's always complaining, but he never does anything about it. As I said, ognora is made up of the words ogni plus ora. The word ogni by itself means every or each. In questa famiglia, ogni figlio è trattato allo stesso modo. In this family, every child is treated equally. Lui veniva ogni sabato a pranzare. He used to come every Saturday to have lunch. Devo prendere queste pillole ogni 2 ore. I have to take these pills every 2 hours. So, il tuo fedel sospira ognor means your faithful admirer constantly yearns. But in modern Italian, you would use sempre instead of ognora. The final bit goes cessa crudel tanto rigor, which more or less means stop, cruel one, being so harsh. The word cessa comes from the verb cessare, meaning to stop. And you'll now recognise what tense it's in. It's in the imperative. Cessare means to stop. Cessa means stop. You can use cessare to mean to stop or even to die down. Il vento è cessato. The wind died down. Non ha ancora cessato di piovere. It hasn't stopped raining yet. Cessare il fuoco means to cease fire. And you'll see with that last example that we have the word cease in English, which is similar in appearance to cessare. The word crudel is a shortened form of the word crudele, which means cruel or savage. La matrigna di Cenerentola era una persona crudele. Cinderella's stepmother was a cruel person. È crudele mangiare un gelato davanti a me. It's cruel to eat an ice cream in front of me. Tanto rigor. The last bit, tanto rigor, simply means so much harshness. The word rigor is a shortened form of the noun rigore, meaning harshness or severity. And the adjective tanto means a lot of or so much. You can use tanto in front of masculine nouns, and in the feminine it becomes tanta. In the plural, these become tanti and tante. C'è tanto formaggio. There's so much cheese. Abbiamo tante macchine. We have so many cars. Loro hanno tanti soldi. They have so much money. So really, if we put those last two lines together, it makes more sense. Let's just take out the crudel first. Cessa tanto rigore means stop with so much harshness. But sometimes, when we translate things, we can take a few liberties to make them sound more natural in our target language. So in English, it might sound more fluent to say something like, stop being so harsh. And that's the end. That lovely verse in Beyoncé's song Daughter has given us so much Italian, or tanto italiano. Caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te languisci il cor, il tuo fedel sospiro ognor, cessa crudel, tanto rigor. My dear beloved, believe me at least, without you, my heart languishes. Your faithful admirer constantly yearns. Stop, cruel one, being so harsh.